Digital audio health by Cymatrax.
It's Al Cole from CBS Radio, and I want to tell you about a Renaissance woman who excels at everything she puts her innovative mind to. And you know, I'm going to start it out like this. What would you say if I told you that I was going to introduce you to a lady who is a very successful business entrepreneur and a world-class creative force as a realtor, interior designer, hosts charity golf tournaments for wildlife, and is the cutting-edge author of the stunning Magical Forces Within? Well, Al, I'd say make the introduction, brother. I've just been dying to learn some of all of those things from somebody who sounds like a real magnetic lady. Well, you're in luck, because not only can you learn about the fabulous life accomplishments of this woman, whose name happens to be Rhonda Grant, but week in and week out, Rhonda will introduce you to some of the most exciting guests on the planet as she hosts her own awesome podcast, The Rhonda Grant Show, on ContactTalkradio. Week to week, Rhonda skillfully weaves the magical forces within her with the extraordinary discoveries in the sometimes ordinary lives of her guests, who blossom before your very eyes through the guidance and know-how of such a skilled and sensitive host as Rhonda Grant. You got to check it out. Check out all the action at rhondagrantauthor.com. That's rhondagrantauthor.com to witness the extraordinary discoveries in otherwise ordinary lives. And I hear some of you asking right now, well, Al, how do you know all this? I'll tell you. It's because I weave some of the same magic on my own nationally syndicated show called People of Distinction. It's all about humanity at its best. Every guest with extraordinary things to say about the magical forces within life itself. Get it? So check them out. The Rhonda Grant Show, Extraordinary Discoveries in Ordinary Lives, and People of Distinction, created by me, Al Cole from CBS Radio, now hosted by my amazing son, Benji Cole. You can check out People of Distinction on Apple Music, or email me for exciting updates on my music and my books too, especially Romance for Women on Amazon. Email me at al@alcoholic.com. You heard me right. That's AL@ALCOLEHOLIC.com. And I really want to thank my CBS radio listeners for coming up with that handle, Alcoholic. Seems like from day one, my listeners have been saying, Al, we love what you're doing there, brother. In fact, we're hooked on it. We're alcoholics. So here we go in classic form with a swing of a golf club as she hosts another charity golf tournament for wildlife and another incomparable Rhonda Grant show. So all together, everybody, here's Rhonda.
Welcome to the Rhonda Grant Show. Sometimes the universe has a way of placing people or obstacles in your path to help guide and direct you on your mission. Listen in as we discover the path my guest has traveled. Have they been inspired by a calling, crafted their journey, or a bit of both? I invite you to embrace the conversations and to use them to help you recognize if this is happening in your life. My guest today is Lauren Cohen, who is a cross-border legal and real estate investment expert. After her then husband's deportation, on the return trip from their honeymoon, she was devastated. She felt compelled to find solutions for herself and others and knew that she could make a difference. So she turned to the crazy world of immigration and the international law and has served as a concierge quarterback and is recognized as an expert authority in the field ever since. Today, serial entrepreneur Lauren Cohen is an international lawyer, realtor, and foreign investor expert. Originally from Toronto and now in South Florida, Lauren is also a best-selling and highly sought-after speaker, and she launched her podcast, Investing Across Borders, in late 2020. Lauren and her turnkey team believe in overcoming obstacles and navigating global expansion for business owners and real estate investors, while offering access to unique passive income options. Lauren's superpower rests in paving a path to immigration visas through her real estate and business investment, navigating the path for clients to live, work, invest, and play across borders. Welcome to the Rhonda Grant Show, Lauren.
Thank you, Rhonda. It's great to be here, finally.
Yes. Thank you so much. I'm always amazed by people's ability to take adversity and turn it into a lifelong passion of helping others. Can you give our listeners a little background on how you work with international investors?
Sure. So I am originally from Toronto and I'm now in South Florida. And I married back in 2006 somebody who was originally from Montreal, and we met here in Florida. I married him. We went on our honeymoon to Thailand. And on the way back from our honeymoon, he was put into immigration jail, expeditiously removed from the US, and then barred from entry. And I can't remember the word all of a sudden. It's like I say it all the time. But anyway, so he was expeditiously moved and subsequently deported. I couldn't remember deported, and I'm an immigration lawyer. Anyway, at the time, I was not in the immigration world other than for my own immigration, and I was in the process of getting my green card. So here I am on the way back from this honeymoon, and my then husband is being deported. And I was like, what in the world is going on? In the meantime, I learned so much about the immigration world, and I decided that I had a calling to help prevent others from facing a similar plight to what I experienced and paving a path to successful immigration. Then it turned into investing and immigration, and now it's all about helping people invest and expand their businesses across borders.
Mm-hmm. And as a realtor, you are hands-on. I mean, you help people purchase properties and through the immigration process.
That's correct. Yes. So I am a realtor and a lawyer. I'm actually still a lawyer in Ontario, and I'm a lawyer in the States. And I got my real estate license because my mom was a realtor in Toronto for a couple of decades. And I wish she never gave that up, but that's another story. So it was in my blood. And I really did nothing with my real estate license down here, which I've had now for 14 years. I did nothing with it until about a year and a half ago. I joined EXP, and now I'm the chair of the International Investment Committee for EXP Commercial. And joining EXP and the COVID experience and all of the online stuff and just everything forced me to rethink my business model. And I created a program called How to Immigrate Through Real Estate. And real estate is my mainstay, as now is law. And one leads into the other. And obviously many Canadians especially, but all over the country here, want to invest in Florida. So we help them. And now we have some amazing projects in Orlando that we're promoting and helping people literally from all over the world to buy investment properties, buy vacation properties, and if they so choose, to build a business and live and work in the US. My tagline is actually that I navigate a path to invest, live, work, and play across borders, because without play, what is there, right?
Mm-hmm. And yes, exactly. So if I wanted to buy a property in Florida, how would I do that? I would call you up and say, I'd like to take a look at some properties in Florida, and then I would fly down and you would show them to me.
You don't even need to fly down.
Don't even need to do
it. You can, but you don't need to. So many of these properties that we're promoting, especially in Orlando, are pre-construction. So flying down, you're not going to see that much more than you see online. So a lot of people are doing remote investing, even for resales, because we have virtual tours and Matterport tours and all kinds of options. Now, if you're building a business around this, you can't just buy one or two properties and rent them out, even Airbnb. It has to be volume, excuse me, and you have to turn an otherwise passive investment, which real estate is generally considered to be, into an active business. And that's my superpower, is helping people transition that so that they can qualify for immigration status if they so choose.
Mm-hmm. And once they have purchased the home and they want to go and vacation in Florida for a month out of the year, what happens with the property with the other 11 months? What do you have in
generally,
place?
So some of the properties that we're promoting have lease back options, meaning that the company from which you buy, the developer, or they have a property management company in place, and they lease back, they have a guaranteed lease back for 12, 18, or 24 months. And other times they have property management companies that they recommend. We have property management companies that we recommend depending on the project. And the property management company manages them and rents them either short-term, long-term. Generally in Orlando, you're going to be doing a lot of short-term rental. In South Florida, it might be longer-term rental, especially seasonal, but it's a turnkey system. So when you come to me, you're not necessarily going to invest as Rhonda Grant, but you may set up a limited liability company or an infrastructure that allows you to avoid double taxation, meaning a limited partnership to a limited liability company. I have a cross-border tax advisor. We're actually taking him out for dinner tomorrow night to celebrate the purchase of his home here in Boca. And he's from Ottawa, not too far from you. And he moved down here and got his E2 visa as well. So it's not just like, it's not as simple as, okay, here's a person they want to invest. We want to make sure that we create a strategy. If you're just buying a property so that you can be here for a month out of the year, that's going to be a simpler strategy, but we still have to make sure that we avoid double taxation to the greatest extent possible. Because the last thing you want to do is rent your property, get a 6 or 8 cap rate return on your investment, and give it to the CRA or any other taxing agency, right?
That's right. And so my next question, I guess, and I'm thinking about our listeners who have no idea about this, is, so I'll use myself as an example again. If I want to buy one of your properties or a few of your properties, set up a company, am I talking to a mortgage company in Canada, or am I talking to a mortgage company in the States? Whether it's through the pre-build or a vacation home. So I would be talking to people in the States in order to do that, would I?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So actually my podcast is sponsored by a company called Lendi, and Lendi lends investment capital to investors from Canada, the UK, Australia, and Israel, investing in non-owner occupied US properties. Now, at this moment, they're not lending on short-term rentals, but that's going to change. And so I have access to those funds, and they're available to, as long as it's not based on income. It's a very simple processing, a very simple application process. And as well, a lot of the developers have their own in-house lending options that are available, very, very decent rates. And I have tons of other lenders, but this one in particular is focused on Canadians investing in the US. So it's great.
And I guess the same with any property, a person would be investigating insurance for that property.
Correct.
And you have people in place. It sounds like you're a one-time shop.
We are a one-stop shop. That's actually what we're promoting. It's literally a one-stop shop. That's what I've been all along on the immigration side, helping people get there, find the business, vet the business, make the investment, set up the companies, create the business plan, develop the petition. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm doing everything, because I'm not. I'm not the be all and end all, but what I am is the coordinator and the general contractor or quarterback, so to speak. So whether it be you're investing in a property in Orlando or you're investing in a business in Los Angeles, I'm going to help you with every step of the way and literally hold your hand through the process. Maybe not physically, but to every other extent, yes.
And so who is your biggest investor? What country is your biggest investor?
Oh, that's an easy one. Canada, by far.
It is Canada.
Absolutely,
Wonderful.
because I'm Canadian. So Canadians come to me naturally. I love tons and tons of Israeli and Brazilian and British clients as well. Those would be my next 3 countries, and Mexicans too. Now, the reason for this is there's a visa available that's not available to absolutely everybody. Now, Brazilians don't have this visa. However, they are big investors in Florida, particularly. I don't just work in Florida. I have partners all over the US, and for that matter, in 18 countries. So I even help people invest in Costa Rica and Mexico and you name it. But the point is that there's a visa available. It's called an E2. It's an investor visa. It's based on a substantial investment. It's a very popular visa. In my book, called Finding Your Silver Lining, because it was my silver lining after my husband's deportation. In the business immigration process, I call it the coveted visa. It's the most popular, and it's a 5-year renewable visa. And the Canadians have access to it, Israelis, Brits, French, Mexicans, but not Brazilians. It's complicated. So we'll just leave it at that for now, rather than getting into all the details.
Yes, and I was going to ask you about your books. I mean, you are a best-selling author.
Yes, I actually have 2 books. The second one of which is only it's not an ebook per se. It's just not a published book. The first book is about all of the different business visas that came out in 2017, and most of the information is still relevant. It's a great little tool and book, and it's a great resource for people that are considering different types of visas. It also has my story in the preface about my ex-husband and all of that.
Right.
And then I wrote a second book about franchises and foreign investors, because I love franchises as the pathway to getting an immigration visa. And I love working with franchisors that are looking for more investors and franchisees, and they don't think about the opportunities that are offered through foreign investors. So it's a big deal, and there's a lot of great information. So yes, I've written 2 books, and at some point we'll definitely write another, because I've got a lot of stories to tell.
And would you like to share any of those stories now?
Well,
one of them?
Certainly the first story is the one about my ex-husband. There's so many stories, that people come to me and they think they want X and then they want Y.
Right.
People are frustrated because they went to somebody who they found online for super cheap and ended up getting exactly what they paid for. And we're holistic. Okay. I'm not going to work with somebody unless they're ready to look at the big picture and create a strategy that allows them to look at that big picture. I have a mastermind. I teach other realtors how to create an international pipeline. So there's just I hate to kind of toot my own horn, but there's really no shortage of opportunities that we offer through my company to get you access to what you're looking for, and in a holistic way, because as I say, we do hold your hand throughout the process. Now, one of the things that I wanted to share with you is a little story. So, and by the way, I must say, I have to make a disclaimer, which I usually make at the beginning, that I am a lawyer, but obviously none of this is legal advice. But I always like to have people think about what the picture could be if they do this. Okay. So in Canada, and I don't know how many of your listeners are Canadian, but I'm assuming many. In Canada, especially Ontario, we know prices are insane. Taxes are insane. The regs around investment are crazy, and it's not easy, and the cap rates are low, right? So
Yes.
When you come south of the border and you start making investments in the US, the doors open, the plethora opens, the floodgates open, and you have opportunities that are abounding and coming at you from all angles. The challenge is, what opportunities are the right ones for you? So we
Right.
want to make sure that you have a big picture in mind and that you can picture what you want. For example, it's cold, it's winter in Toronto, in Ottawa, in Kingston. We're like, okay, I want out. So think about having a place in the sun, on the beach, near Disney, whatever the case is. Picture that for you and your family, a place to go every year that you can call home. And it's a beautiful thing. And you don't necessarily have to move here, but maybe you want to. A lot of people right now want out because they're done with lockdown, and there's talk of another lockdown. So who knows what's going on? And down here in Florida, despite whatever politics you may have, and I'm not talking politics because mine don't swing the way you might think, but what I am talking about is open doors, not just open in terms of not wearing a mask and going into a restaurant, but we have warmth all year round. So you can go to the beach. When we had lockdown here, I would just go to the beach and be out in the open. You can't do that in the wintertime in a cold place. So it's painting that picture of what the client or what the investor wants for them and their family and maybe their business and maybe their life. And it's a completely different lifestyle here. When COVID started, my family's in Toronto. My mom was like, come home. Yeah. Toronto's still home. I'm like, no, Mom, I'm not coming home. Do you know why, Rhonda? Because I have a pool in my backyard. And I was thinking to myself, if this thing, obviously we didn't think it's going to continue, right? We thought maybe, a month or two, right? Mm-hmm. If that. And I thought that was crazy. And I thought, I was sitting at my desk looking at my pool thinking, why am I going to go there? Even though it was at the time, March or April, why am I going to go to Toronto when I have a pool in my backyard? I don't have that in Toronto. So I don't have to worry about a gym. I can swim. So sure enough, that's what happened. Now, unfortunately, my son hasn't seen my mom in almost 2 years, but she's coming down in December. So that'll be really nice.
Wonderful. You are listening to the Rhonda Grant Show right now, whose podcast has been treated by Digital Audio Health by Cymatrax. And I'm speaking with Lauren Cohen today. How may people connect with you, Lauren, if they wanted to reach out?
It's easy for people to connect with me. You can find me literally anywhere. My podcast is called Investing Across Borders. My YouTube channel, Investing Across Borders. My website, investingacrossborders.com. I host webinars and masterminds, and that's through my realestateacrossborders.com website, realestateacrossborders.com/webinar. You can set up a consult with me. You can find me on Facebook. I'm very active on LinkedIn. I think that's how we connected, other than through CSuite. Yes. And we both actually have our podcasts sponsored by CSuite. So yeah, I mean, I would be happy to connect with anybody. We are doing 2 times a week. We're now doing Q&A sessions about the Orlando projects. Happy to have you join us. You are welcome to join us as well, Rhonda, if you're interested.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, it's a good opportunity for sure. Mm-hmm.
So let's say I purchase a property. Okay, one of your properties, or 3 or 4 of your properties that you have right now with the people that are building them. And I come to a point in my life where I want to sell them. How difficult is that process?
Well, we're here.
Yeah.
I mean, these properties sell. And as long as, it depends obviously on the market. We can't control the market.
No,
right
that's
now,
right.
Things are selling like hotcakes with multiple offers, no matter where you are in most of Florida. Orlando, South Florida, it's crazy down here. We had an offer accepted last week. There were 49 offers on a prop. It's only a 3.5 townhouse, but they're in demand. Around, anything around the 300,000 to 500,000 mark is like they stay on the market. I think she had it on the market 2 days. Right. Now, you don't hear of that in Toronto. That's like a $1.4 million property in Toronto, the equivalent.
Wow, that's great to give that information. Yeah, it's really difficult when you have that many offers on a property. I mean, you just have to weed them right down to the last half dozen and take a look at them, because I think the most amount of during this rush of people buying property, as you know, I'm a realtor as well. And
I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't? Okay. So I'm also a realtor, and I have a team, and my son and I had a listing. He's one of the people on my team, and the most offers we've had is 21. And, and it's a pretty tough thing it's a happy time for sure for a seller. I'm not talking about commercial property. I'm talking about residential. Right. And it's exciting. But it's a lot of work. It's, printing out 21 offers and all the paperwork that goes with it, and going and visiting and waiting for them to make their decision. But thank you so much. I mean, you're sharing so much detail that I'm really pleased about, because I hunger for this type of knowledge, especially when it's in another country as well. Do you
with somebody you can trust, because they're from your home country too? And by the way, Rhonda, I'll just throw in there, since I didn't realize you're a realtor, one of the beautiful things about these Orlando opportunities is that for realtors that bring us referrals, there is an opportunity for referral fees to a realtor, even in Ontario or anywhere in the world for that matter.
So it works the same as it would if I'm referring somebody to Toronto or.
Generally speaking, yes, exactly.
Right.
We get a referral agreement in place and you're covered. Yes.
Wonderful. Great to know. Do you feel that you've been called to your mission?
Oh gosh, yes. I mean,
Yes.
I kept on trying to leave and it kept bringing me back. Yes, 100%.
In what way? What do you mean you kept trying to leave?
So I created a system called Scale Up Checkup. It was a system designed to help companies identify risks and gaps in their armor so that they could scale up for funding, for growth, or for exit. It was an algorithm-driven assessment, cost me a small fortune to build. It was a great concept about collaboratively providing services to fill those gaps, almost like doing due diligence in these companies. And it fell short because I just didn't have a couple of $1 million to invest in what needed to happen. And it took me off my game for a while, but COVID put me squarely back in my game, not at the beginning. At the beginning, I was actually helping people get money from the government because nobody was investing anywhere at the time, right? But in the past year, it's pretty much a year around US Thanksgiving last year, which is coming up this week. That's when I developed this immigrate through real estate and really started building this model. And it's definitely my calling because I feel, super comfortable. 8 out of every 10 of my clients are Canadian. The other 2 are always thrilled to work with somebody that's been there and done that. And, it's a good fit. And I feel good about it. I feel like I'm impacting people and helping change their lives.
What a wonderful feeling that is.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
What extraordinary discoveries or discovery have you found in your life?
Well, I mean, the one thing that happened that I guess I would call extraordinary is when I was told at 40 years old that there was no chance I was going to have a child. And if I got pregnant, I would lose the pregnancy, I would miscarry. And I was like, oh boy. So I was actually looking at different options. And then at 42, when I took 5 pregnancy tests and all of them were positive, and at 43 delivered my now 11-year-old son. Yes, I am 54.
Wow.
And, that goes to show you he's definitely my extraordinary accomplishment. And it's just, if you will it, you can make it happen,
That's a tender time when you find out that you're pregnant and you're wishing to carry to term and then delivering a healthy child. I mean, that's amazing. It's a miracle.
Thank you. Yeah, he's a pain in my what, but he's the love of my life for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about that I haven't asked you the question, or you feel that you'd like to talk about?
No, really. I think we're good. I mean, I'm happy to answer any further questions, but I think you've covered everything.
Yes, thank you. Well, it's been a wonderful interview, that's for sure. And I'd like to thank you for being a guest on my show. It's incredible how much information that you've shared with our listeners and me as well. I've learned so much from you just from getting to know you over the last few days. And so thank you so much for being on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. And I hope that you'll join one of our Orlando information sessions soon so we can do some business together and help some Canadians get warm.
That would be wonderful. I look forward to it. What an exciting thing to look forward to.
Thanks, Rhonda.
You're welcome.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Theme song for the Rhonda Grant Show, Sun on the Water, is composed and performed by my friend John Park Wheeler. This is Rhonda Grant with the Rhonda Grant Show, author of Magical Forces Within, Extraordinary Discoveries in an Ordinary Life, inviting you to look for the magical forces within yourself today and every day. Thanks so much for joining in.
Thanks for tuning in to the Rhonda Grant Show with your host, Rhonda Grant. If you would like to find out more information about Rhonda and her upcoming guests and the work that she does, go to her website, rhondagrantauthor.com. That's rhondagrantauthor.com.